Hello everyone, the Flying Canary here with your O'Grady forecast for the Championship weekend. The weather, cloudy with patches of optimism and the odd shower, misplaced confidence, nothing too dramatic unless you count some of the defending we've seen lately. And before we start, a quick word on VAR. We don't have it, not in this league, not in the one below, not in the one below that either. We make our mistakes the traditional way, loudly, publicly, and usually before half-time, and that's why we love it. As ever, Norwich get their own forecast elsewhere. I value my blood pressure too much to mix the two. Right then, let's dive into this weekend's fixtures, the stories, the stats, the sort of predictions that'll look questionable by Sunday breakfast. Friday night, under the lights, it's Middlesbrough against Ipswich Town. Teesside versus Suffolk, industry against agriculture, Borough forged in steel, Ipswich powered by tractors and blind optimism. Both sides playing football well worth watching, both sets of fans convinced they're living a promotion montage. Borough's home form has been sharper than a new hacksaw, but Ipswich travel with swagger. They've been turning away days into daydreams. If the tractor boys strike first, you'll hear the gasp from the North Sea. If Borough score early, Ipswich will chase like a sheepdog after a runaway sheep. Two managers who actually smile now and then, which in this division is rarer than VAR. I'll go 2-1 Middlesbrough, crowd bouncing, floodlights shining, and at least one steward forgetting how the stairs work. And for anyone travelling, wrap up warm. The tease likes to remind you it exists. Before we move to Saturday, a quick manager's quote of the week, this one from a gaffer who shall remain nameless. We didn't deserve to lose, apart from the 3 goals we gave away. Words that sum up this league perfectly. Delusion, wrapped in determination. And that's your Friday forecast wrapped up. The floodlights cool, the chip shop's empty, and somewhere in Teesside, a dream's already being overanalyzed. Now we roll into Saturday. The kettle's on, the sandwiches are sweating in cling film, and the lunchtime games are ready to misbehave. First up, Oxford United against Derby County. Oxford's 3-stand stadium might lack a side, but it never lacks volume. Derby arrive with pride, pedigree, and just enough chaos to make it interesting. Oxford's home crowd loves an upset, and Derby's defence loves a heart attack. The Rams bring the noise, Oxford bring the caffeine. I'll call it 1-1, but only after both benches have shouted themselves hoarse. It's a match for the purists, the ones who appreciate a tactical foul and a questionable haircut. And there's a brisk northerly breeze forecast in Oxford, so expect at least 2 corners to end up in the car park. Across London, QPR welcome Millwall, West meets South East, tight pitch meets tighter tempers. Millwall's away following never travels quietly, and Loftus Road stands are so close you can smell the deep heat. Expect headers, clearances, and at least one argument about who kicked who first. Millwall's backline built like a scaffolding, QPR's attack like an open window. I'll take Millwall 2-1 and the ref to check his insurance premium afterwards. Forecast calls for scattered showers and scattered tempers. Further south, Southampton on face Swansea, a battle of pretty passing and polite pressing. Both clubs like to play the right way, which is lovely unless you actually want goals. Swansea's midfield can string 50 passes together and still forget which direction the net is. Southampton have the pace to punish that. Saints by 2-0, one good move and one lucky deflection. Both managers will talk about process and momentum. Both will secretly just want a clean sheet and a nap. Mild sunshine expected on the south coast. Bring your sunglasses and your sarcasm. Quick weather update while we catch our breath. Across the country, the forecast is the usual championship cocktail. Drizzle in the north, west, optimism in the Midlands, and a light downpour of excuses expected around 5:30. If you're travelling, take layers. You'll need a coat in Middlesbrough, sunglasses in Southampton, and an emotional armour everywhere else. And yes, there's still a yellow warning for overreaction across social media. Stay safe out there. And speaking of sunshine, a quick look back in time. This weekend in football history, on the 17th of October, 1973, England drew 1-1 with Poland at Wembley and missed the World Cup. 39 shots, 1 goal, 1 man in a raincoat, It proves two things. Possession means nothing, and goalkeepers called Jan tend to ruin our nights. And here's your quirky historical extra. On the 18th of October 1951, the first photo of the Earth from space was published. It was black and white and slightly blurry, just like most championship highlights from a windy Tuesday night. That's the lunch games done. The pies are in the oven, the pints are on standby, and the 3 o'clocks are looming like your in-laws at Christmas. Birmingham City host Hull City. Brum's got more canals than Venice and about the same number of mishit crosses. Hull are proper travellers. They bring their own noise, their own weather, and occasionally their own goals. This one's got honest draw written all over it. 1-1, a goal each, and both managers claiming a lot of positives in interviews nobody watches. A chilly drizzle expected, sponsored by Traffic Cones United, blocking progress since time began. Down at the Valley, Charlton meet Sheffield Wednesday. The Addicts still finding their rhythm, the Owls trying to remember where they left theirs. Both clubs steeped in history, both slightly allergic to defending corners. It's birds versus bird, so I'll stay neutral, professional courtesy. But I think Wednesday nick it too, probably with a header that dribbles in off someone's knee and into local legend. Temperatures dropping, feathers likely ruffled. In Coventry, the Sky Blues take on Blackburn Rovers. Coventry's season so far, quietly excellent, structurally sound and suspiciously professional. Blackburn, like an IKEA wardrobe, looks fine until it falls over for no reason. I fancy Coventry here 2-1, 1 goal for confidence, 1 for chaos, and a reminder that Blackburn remain football's most unpredictable mood swing. Match kindly sponsored by Mild Disappointment, proud supplier to both sets of fans for decades. Let's take a second to appreciate the referees, mainly because they never get any. They're out there in the wind and rain trying to remember who kicked who, with 30,000 people giving them character feedback. Without them, we'd have no one to blame, and that's not football. So here's to you, ref. Still wrong, but still essential. Over at Carrow Road, Norwich meet Bristol City. Now, you know I'm not forecasting this one. Two clubs with ambition, patience, and fans who've forgotten what calm feels like. We'll park that for the separate Norwich O'Grady outlook on Beyond the Barclay channels, where I can safely lose my composure in private. Forecast, probably emotional with a chance of hoarse voices. In Sheffield, the Blades host Watford. Sheffield's steel, sweat and sarcasm against a club that changes managers more often than socks. If Watford do switch bosses at half-time, I'm counting it as a substitution. That's how they operate. 1 man out, 1 man in. Puzzle faces. United will grind. Watford will whinge. 1-0 to the Blades, by elbow, by corner, by sheer force of will. And for our mascot madness moment, imagine if Watford ditched the Hornet and went full literal. Just one very confused bloke buzzing around Vicarage Road with a yellow megaphone. Terrifying, but on brand. Then Stoke City welcome Wrexham, the old guard versus the Netflix starlings. Wrexham bring Hollywood, Stoke bring headwind. The Bet365 stadium is still football's equivalent of an army training camp. Cold, loud, and full of lads who've perfected the long throw as an art form. Wrexham will play brave, but Stoke's muscle and set pieces will be too much. 2-1 Stoke, a long throw, a near-post header, and a manager interview that uses the word resilient 7 times. Light showers expected, mostly tears from the away end. West Bromwich Albion take on Preston North End, 2 proper football clubs, with enough combined history to fill a documentary nobody would fund. Albion fans desperate for consistency, Preston fans desperate for goals. I'll give it to West Brom 1-0, a scruffy finish and a collective sigh of relief. Preston will look neat, but toothless, like a cat with no claws. Strong gusts forecast around the Hawthorns, mainly from frustrated sighs. And finally, Saturday night under the lights. Leicester City versus Portsmouth, Foxes on home turf, polished, clinical, and a little too well behaved. Pompey travel in numbers and in full voice. If passion won matches, they'd already be promoted. But Leicester at home, that's a tough nut. 2-0 Foxes, 1 moment of class, 1 moment of luck, and a crowd that goes home smiling, but somehow still anxious. Calm skies expected apart from the odd blue moon rising over the King Power. And before I go, spare a thought for the Premier League lads, staring at screens all weekend. Somewhere in Stockley Park, there's a bloke drawing a line on a player's calf, whispering, "That's the beautiful game. Down here we just call it Saturday mud." Noise, dodgy decisions, the way football's meant to be. And that's your championship weekend forecast. Wrapped up, 12 matches, countless dodgy decisions, and not a VAR monitor in sight. Cloudy skies, fiery tempers, and enough drama to keep us all pretending it's about the football and not the therapy. Before we go, your Flying Canary travel tip. If you're on the road this weekend, pack patience, snacks, and a spare charger, because nothing tests faith like a closed motorway, a flat phone, and a 0-0. If your club wants its own 4-minute bespoke outlook, personal, painful, and full of misplaced optimism, you know where to find me. Travel safe, sing loud, and remember, hope is not a strategy, but it's great content. Flying Canary out.